everybody. Hey, how's everyone doing? Oh, excuse me, thank you. Very good. Very good. Welcome to my home. I'm Dr. Mark Hatala, and these are my outstanding students. And today we're going to talk about whether we could fall in love with a robot that expresses love for us. But why don't we start with introductions, if you could get us started.
Hi, I am Ashley.
I'm Maddy.
I'm Zach.
I'm Annie.
And I'm Will.
Outstanding. The reason I bring this question up is this is actually a test question in my cognitive science class. And so this is a significant other type relationship, not like the movie AI, which I believe probably Will has seen, where they adopt a child who's an AI and expresses love.
You mean Pinocchio?
Is that
sci-fi movie? Yeah.
Okay. Well, so with technology and how it's moving forward, could you guys fall in love with an AI that expresses love for you? Maybe Her is a better example of when this happens.
Ooh, what do you think of Her? The movie.
Just the movie?
Yeah.
I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. I mean,
Could you fall in love with it?
Well, the way you sighed was like. Ugh.
well, I just meant the side was more at the relationship than anything. I don't know. I mean, you can fall. Yeah, you could fall. I think you can fall in love technically with anything, but it's just I don't know if that's healthy. It's just I'm thinking of like that movie. He's like he was a nice guy. He's not the worst looking dude. Like it's almost to me if the end.
That was Chris Pratt?
No, it was he was in it, but it was Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I turned that movie off because I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's a little too at times, but like I don't know. It's just like he's not like I said. He's a very nice guy. But like it's almost like giving like in that situation, it's like giving up. It's like I'm gonna settle for something that's kind of perfect. You know, I mean, you like I said, you can. I just don't think that like.
So Will's out. Okay.
Yeah, as good as Blade Runner is, I'm out.
I agree with you. Like, I think I personally couldn't fall in love with a computer. I think I really need like a human or like human touch and stuff. But I do think it's kind of like when we see that, and this is just me thinking like in a situation where I would fall in love with a computer, it's like there's nobody else. Like it's like giving up. It's like, well, I guess I'll do this and stuff. And you know what? It's not so bad. And you convince yourself you like it, you love it. I mean, didn't Plankton like marry a computer?
But don't think of it as just like where you couldn't touch it. Think of it as like a robot. And so there can be touch and there
So
can
like
be,
replicants in Blade Runner.
like replicants in Blade Runner
But it's not the same.
they're
Everything
gonna be
about it.
cold.
Is it like a human? Everything
Not
does it look,
necessarily.
feel, seem like a human. Just like in its core is just like a floppy disk, and it's a robot. Like is that? Because like maybe like if I couldn't tell the difference, like
I think about.
they might trick me into falling in love with them.
Right.
What's the movie with the Turing test?
Well, let's
imitation
go to
game?
Ashley and we'll
No.
come back to Zach. Please.
Gosh, there's a movie that I'm trying to think
androids-
of.
Well, we don't want to talk about movies. We want to know about you.
No, because it's
Ashley,
better.
what do you
In
think?
all fairness, movies are a good way of explaining this kind
Okay,
of a
but
question.
yeah,
Perhaps.
but like, okay, so the way that I think about it is, there's a movie that I can't remember, and in it, basically they created a synthetic AI that looked like a human, talked like a human, was very difficult to tell from another person, but it was a robot, you know? It had an on-off switch, it could be ordered around. Basically, they brought a person in there to interact with it to see if it could actually convince people that it was human, you know? And,
The Turing test.
Yeah, the Turing test. And it did, but then it did that to manipulate said human into letting it out, and then, you know,
That's
got out.
Ex Machina.
There you
Ex
go, that's the
Machina.
movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a
Anyway.
very good movie.
Yeah, but
So they
that
fall
is
in love with her.
That is the person. That is the person that I think of when I think of this question. When I think of, could you fall in love with a robot? I think of something that you can touch, that you can talk to, that has questionable capacity to think for itself and feel for itself. You know, that basically all those things that we think of as human exist, and I feel like, for me, if that were real, I think you could fall in love with it. And I don't think it would necessarily be unhealthy to fall in love with it, because I think that this question breaks down, like the reason why it's a good psychology question
Thank
is
you.
it breaks down what is love. And, you know, is love something that you must have, like, that extra, like, human spark that we
Sure.
don't really know what it is or try to find? Do you have to have that thing, or is it just like a series of behaviors that you can learn to, like, replicate via a pattern or some program? And, like, obviously it's complex, but, like, is it something that you can manufacture? And I think that,
Could I
for
give
me,
a-
I think it is.
Can I give you an example that's a little bit as that? With troops in Afghanistan and Iraq, they would have robots that they would use. They have what's called throwbots and stuff. And if those would get damaged, they would repair them. But the troops would say, we want that one back. We don't want some replacement one. That's the one that we know.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, could you fall in love with a robot that expresses love for you?
Well, I think that love probably arises at least partially from a biological imperative.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't indistinguishable from people, I think that'd be a hard thing to get over. If it was indistinguishable, I've been fooled by simpler machines before. So probably.
Oh, very good.
But could the machine love you back?
Well,
Does that
can
matter?
it? Yeah.
Right.
Replicate
I
said
think it
emotion
would
of love.
hurt me more
It
to
could.
love something that
Familiar
But,
with
like, I feel
philosophical
like-
zombies?
No.
Ooh, do that.
It's just like, what if you're the only person in the world that has consciousness and everyone else
Oh.
doesn't? But we act
How
like we
would you
do,
know?
so how does it matter?
Exactly.
I think that's like that question of like we love our pets, you know, but do we really know that they love us back? And how could we? Like, does that mean that we don't love them if we don't know that they'll ever actually be able to love us back? Because like we do all kinds of things where we anthropomorphize dogs, for example.
Or Roombas even.
Oh my gosh, humans and Roombas. You all should find. It's like this Tumblr stream, and it's like humans are weird, and it talks about like what if aliens came to Earth, but instead of being like, you know, out to kill us and like destroy us
Sure.
for our resources, they like were just confused by us because we're like the Australia of the galaxy, you know, where like we just
Oh, that sounds like an anti-Australian word.
Well, no,
Because
just,
we like to watch
everything,
videos of cats in shark costumes riding
you know,
around on
and we're just like why? Like every other
I might
creature
cut that
is
in.
like why? You know. But the concept of like humans will pack bond with anything.
That's true.
Like there is a plant in my house, and that is my plant.
Yeah.
I protect this plant with my. This plant has no feelings, no emotions, no way to interact with me, but it's mine. And I'm like, so that's love. I
Yeah, but
think.
it's not a romantic relationship.
No.
Maddie, let's bring it to you. What do you think?
Okay.
The stress level just went.
Okay, well, I said this earlier to some people, but I was like, anything that gives me attention, I can probably fall in love with. I said it, oops, like.
But yeah.
But
that's
also,
amazing.
okay, here's my, like, thought. Like,
Okay.
even if it, like, wasn't, like, a robot, like, if it was, like, a computer, like,
Uh-huh.
in Her, where he falls in love with a computer,
A
essentially.
voice.
People are doing that, like, all the time with, like, online relationships and stuff like that.
Catfishing. Isn't that what that is? Or is that different?
Well, you just like, well,
related.
but you have no idea if that person you're talking to on the other side of the screen
Right.
is who they say they are, or, you know, whatever. And so, like, you have no idea if, you know, this is a real person, if there's anything like that. So, like, if you can fall in love with just some thought of a person, like, don't you think you could fall in love with something that, like, seemed just like a person,
Yeah.
but, like,
And met your
Was it?
needs and emotionally talked to you and
Yeah.
everything else.
But in the same sense, I also think we have this like biological like desire to like procreate somehow like deep down, and like that would always like also like always be known that like you couldn't procreate with this like machine. And so I feel like
But there's plenty of couples that can't have children and they have fulfilling relationships.
you're right.
Yeah, like I think about the LGBTQ community
yeah.
and like anybody who's ace, you know, and like that whole concept. But I do think that you are right in saying that like that need for like a human that like has ideally like is the possibility of procreation, but like at the same time I think that you can have fulfilling relationships.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, absolutely. And
No,
I
you
was
weren't
just thinking of like
yeah.
a robot,
Yeah.
you know.
In
But
terms
like
of raising a child,
yeah,
that might be
raising a
difficult
child.
with
Maybe a robot child.
yeah. What do you have robot kids? Like,
Everyone's
So-
but yeah, I think I probably could fall in love with
These have all been very good answers, but I will tell you what I thought was the best answer that I had a student once saying, so I'll throw this out there. They said, it depends what everybody else is doing. If everybody else is falling in love with robots, then absolutely I would. But if that's like some kind of pariah thing where nobody, like that's a weird thing to do, then they wouldn't. That we're all essentially herd creatures, that we're conformed to what everybody else is doing. So, does that change anybody's answer? And Annie, what was your answer? Could you fall in love with a robot that expresses love for you?
No. I don't think I could. I think just knowing that they aren't like human, like they don't have like a soul necessarily, or whatever you want to believe, like they're like somebody, like it's just like somebody like programmed them. Like people
Yeah.
don't program people, you know.
That-
I mean,
yeah.
you know, you can talk about conditioning or whatever,
Sure.
but like, you know.
You can't like program another individual to fall in love with you. You can program like a robot to love you no matter what, which is kind
Right.
of weird.
Well,
You know?
What was your answer?
To that question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think Steve Jobs said it best. He said when
He only talks in quotes.
Steve Jobs once said, he said when your girlfriend breaks up with you, you go and build a new one. And so that would be, because we have conceptions of and expectations for how we see people. I think we project a lot of what we believe onto the people that we're in romantic relationships with. And so I don't see any difference between a biological human doing that in a robot.
You don't find love, you make it.
Oh, snap.
In all fairness, didn't Steve Jobs also like deny the fact that he had a daughter for years?
Yeah, but that's not a romantic relationship.
I mean,
and he
I'm just
eventually
saying, I don't.
settled.
I guess what I'm saying is what that guy says, you know, about things that aren't
Well, he
an
invented the
intelligent
future.
thing.
That
What's
is
that?
He invented the future.
Yeah, but was he even really a human being?
Well,
He might have been a robot.
Honestly,
Oh.
maybe.
well, would anybody like a last word on this?
No. I think you've got it. I
Okay.
think he might be a robot at this
I wish. Well, those are our thoughts about whether we could love a robot that expresses love for us. But we would like to hear in the comments what your thoughts are about this. And we'd ask you to like and subscribe. And I think that's it. So,
Yeah, have a great day.
And have a great day. Very good. Okay.
Woo!
Outstanding.